Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Thursday, March 31st, 2011, and I'm Darko. Welcome everyone to this news bulletin. This is my website, www.ggnonline.com. That's ggnonline.com. You can donate, you can find all my news videos in here on my website, or ddarko2012 on YouTube. You can subscribe via FeedBurner, or if you have a Blogger account, you can also follow me here, or if you have a Facebook account right here, you can join me by clicking on this button right there. And as far as the poll, this will be the last day this poll will be posted. It's actually closed, but I just want to leave it up and actually cover this once more just so people can see this. The results, it said, do you support military operations that include the removal of Gaddafi, instituting a no-fly zone, embargo/sanctions, and or deploying ground troops? And only 7% said yes, 88% said no. And as usual, we'll start off with the economy. It says here, Wall Street ends a strong quarter optimistic on payrolls. U.S. stocks ended a solid quarter with the barest of moves on Thursday as investors look ahead to Friday's U.S. jobs report to provide a catalyst to push indexes to new highs for the year. And then to the dollar. Dollar trims losses against euro, a signal that the world's most powerful central bank may finally be preparing to raise rates from the record lows to combat inflation, boosted the dollar against its chief rival, pulling the euro off near 5-month highs. And then we have this about the meeting in Nanjing, where world leaders are discussing how to abandon the dollar. It says it's not getting many big headlines, but this week there has been a big meeting in China on reforming the international monetary system. And it says here, you can read Dominique Strauss-Kahn's jargon-laden take on it here, and you can go down there and read that. It says here, Citi's Steve Englander cuts to the chase. So there's a meeting, or this meeting in Nanjing, where all countries but one are trying to figure out how to get rid of the U.S. dollar as the world's major reserve currency. One country is trying to keep its currency as the world's major reserve currency, but have it depreciate against all the others, and one country wants its currency to become a reserve currency but doesn't want anyone to buy it without permission. The intended outcome is reform of the international monetary system. And then we move on to the yen. It falls to a 10-month low versus euro on global economic recovery outlook. And then commodities actually took a short dip here. And it says here, Brent crude was trading at $117 a barrel. It was up $2.23, and natural gas was down almost 2 cents. And moving on to the cocoa and coffee, cocoa was down again, and coffee also. And it says here, corn was up $30, cotton up $6.50, wheat was up $36 and $45, soy up $38, oats up $17, and again, soy down here is up $10. And moving down here to precious metals, copper was down $2.20. It's trading at $428. And it says here, gold is trading at $1,433. It was down $6 per ounce. Silver at $37.70, down 18 cents. And then oil jumps to 2.5-year highs, posts big Q1 gains. And it says here, oil prices jumped to their highest close in 2.5 years on Thursday in the thin end quarter trading that left Brent near a record quarterly rise of more than $22 as Libya's conflict and Middle East unrest kept supply threats in focus and U.S. economic data added lift. And some more news on oil. Financial Times, OPEC could reap $1 trillion this year. It says OPEC countries are set to make a record-breaking $1 trillion in export revenues this year if crude oil prices remain above $100 a barrel, and the International Energy Agency official told the Financial Times. And then Obama sets goal to reduce oil imports by 1/3 by 2025. And moving on, Fremantle praises Prime Minister for carbon tax. And if you move down here, it says Prime Minister Julia Gillard has been showered with praise by Fremantle residents for her government's proposed carbon tax during community cabinet meeting in the West Australian port city. And it says, but that was to be expected at Australia's only carbon neutral high school in a state electorate held by a Green Independent. And most of the people don't want it there. It says U.S. gasoline price on the rise. The U.S. State of California has witnessed a daily rise in gasoline prices during the past month as the state continues to hold one of the nation's highest unemployment rates. And it says here, family price fears as petrol predicted to climb to $2 a liter. And it says NRMA says petrol could go as high as $2 per liter, not unrealistic, sorry, if continued strife in Middle East. And quote, we are really being protected by that strong dollar. Petrol prices are heading for a $2 a liter, and families should start saving money now, they have warned. And it goes on here. It says that it could skyrocket by up to $2,000 a vehicle, talking about fuel bills annually. And moving on to this, it says smart meters set to add 430 pounds to energy bills. Households could see more than 430 pounds added to their energy bills to pay for a new smart meter system. The government yesterday announced plans for the rollout of smart meters, which will see 53 million installed in homes and businesses between 2014 and 2019. Energy companies will have to pay for the new meters, which track how much electricity a consumer uses, as well as install them. And eventually, that's how it kind of goes hand in hand with a carbon tax and a cap and trade system. And when that happens, they'll be able to turn and regulate your electricity so that you can basically, if you freeze in the winter, you're screwed. And it's all in the name of saving the environment and killing people. EU finance jitters lift gold to new record. Gold futures ended a record settlement on worries about Europe's financial system and forecasts for higher gold demand from India. Then grain soybeans surge as U.S. crop outlook signals increasing food costs. Corn rose the most allowed by the Chicago Board of Trade as concerns mounted that food costs will climb after the latest U.S. government forecast on supplies and acreage. Soybeans and wheat also jumped. Then we have this, corn planning to surge as farmers chase high prices. U.S. farmers are responding to high crop prices by planning big increases in the amount of corn, wheat, and cotton plant they just planted this spring, according to the U.S. Agricultural Department. And it says here, U.S. expects bigger corn crop to ease food inflation. U.S. farmers are expected to boost the size of this year's corn crop, potentially easing global food inflation by fall. And it says the Agricultural Department reports that farmers intend to plant 9.92 million acres of corn this spring, a 5% increase over the last year. That would make it the second biggest corn crop since 1944. And we should be growing hemp and other stuff, but hey, we grow corn. Food inflation kept hidden in tinier bags. And it says here, food manufacturers continue to disguise inflation by gradually shrinking product sizes. It says it is a tactic that has been long employed to avoid having to directly raise prices for consumers, but one that has become increasingly more obvious in recent days. In response to rapid inflation and rising food costs, many food manufacturers are continuing to shrink or otherwise redesign their product packaging in an effort to disguise the fact that actual food prices are increasing. In the end, consumers get less product that they think they are getting, even if prices appear to remain the same. And you think that they're going to advertise that as much as they advertise all their other little features in the commercials? No. They're going to come out and say, hey, now a new smaller box where you pay the same price. No, they're not going to do that because they're sneaky bastards. And they've been doing this for a while. I've noticed this when I was working in a grocery store a couple of years ago because prices were increasing then in 2008. So says here, Walmart CEO Bill Simon expects inflation. U.S. consumers face, quote, serious inflation in the months ahead for clothing, food, and other products. The head of Walmart U.S. operations warned on Wednesday, and he said he's working with suppliers to minimize the effect of cost increases and believes its low-cost business model will position it better than its competitors. And still, inflation is going to be serious, he was quoted as saying. And he said, we're seeing cost increases starting to come through at a pretty rapid rate. And then European inflation unexpectedly accelerates to fastest since October 2008. It says here, European inflation unexpectedly accelerated in the fastest in more than 2 years in March as European central bank policymakers prepared to raise interest rates to fight increasing price pressures. Then 12 warning signs of U.S. hyperinflation. And it goes on here and it says the National Inflation Association today released its top 12 warning signs of U.S. hyperinflation. Number 1, the Federal Reserve is buying 70% of U.S. Treasuries. Number 2, the private sector has stopped purchasing U.S. Treasuries. China moving away from U.S. dollar as reserve currency. And I've been reporting on that periodically. It says here, Japan to begin dumping U.S. Treasuries. I've been reporting on that as well. They've been doing that since November of last year. The Fed funds rates remains near zero. And it says here, year over year, CPI growth, consumer price index growth, has increased 92% in 3 months. Number 7, mainstream media denying Fed's target passed. And then number 8, record U.S. budget deficit in February, $222 billion. Number 9, high budget deficit as percentage of expenditures. Number 10, Obama lies about foreign policy. Number 11, Obama changes definition of balanced budget. And he said in the White House budget projection for the next 10 years, they don't project that the U.S. will ever come close to achieving a real balanced budget. In fact, after projecting declining budget deficits on our national debt, the White House projects our budget deficits to begin increasing again up until the year 2021. And it moves on. It says the last one, number 12, U.S. faces largest ever interest payments increases. And now we're talking about interest still. It says here, Fed officials see higher rates by year end. The president of the Minneapolis Fed said Thursday that the Fed may need to increase short-term interest rates by year end if underlying inflation rises, as he anticipates. ECB focus Europe rates to lead U.S. as global power shifts. And it says here, as a Reuters article, after following the Fed's lead for over a decade, the European Central Bank is poised to launch a series of interest rate hikes before the U.S. Central Bank for the first time in ECB's history. The change from the traditional pattern reflects the ECB's greater preoccupation with inflation pressures, as well as its higher level of discomfort with the emergency bond buying programs run by central banks. And report China may raise interest rates twice in second quarter. And we're going to keep moving on here so we can finish up everything, all the news that I have. CNOOC to acquire 1/3 of 3 exploration areas in Uganda for $1.47 billion. And if you ever listen to Webster Tarpley, you don't have to believe in all of his politics, his personal politics, but his analysis on geopolitics is just amazing. The guy has a lot of information, and he talks about China and Africa, and basically we need to keep our eyes on them. Because that could lead into a big conflict over basically resources, natural resources, mineral rights, oil, and that. And it says here, going broke, Treasury down to $58 billion in cash, $130 billion borrowing authority. Then Irish banks move towards nationalization. Ireland is on track to nationalize its banking sector after its government uncovered 24 billion euros capital shortfall in the latest round of stress tests on top banks. 11% of homes in the U.S. are vacant, says report. And it says more than 11% of all homes in the U.S. are vacant. A new report from CNN Money has found, citing census data. And U.S. jobless claims fall, consumer confidence improves. And it says fewer Americans filed claims for jobless benefits last week, and consumer confidence stabilized. A sign the world's largest economy is weathering the jump in the commodity prices heading into the second quarter. And we have this article, cuts force poor into improper housing, leading British charity shelter warns of the poor falling victim to rogue landlords due to the housing benefit cuts and government's laxity on private rented sector. Then we have banks still earning interest on $1 trillion reserves thanks to the Federal Reserve. And then we have 19 reasons why the Federal Reserve is at the heart of the economic problem. And I'll go through the first 5 and then you can check it out. The links will be posted. The Federal Reserve System is a debt-based financial system. That's right, all your little dollars, those are just notes of debt. They're not really worth anything. And it says here the Federal Reserve and the bankers have a monopoly on the creation of its debt-based money. Then number 3, we have the power of money creation and debt creation is in the hands of the private individuals, not the government. Number 4, the Federal Reserve itself is not much of a profit-making institution. Rather, it is a tool that enables others to make obscene amounts of money. Number 5, the Federal Reserve is a perpetual debt machine. That's right. You can go and check the rest of that out. Global's target central bank of Libya is 100% state-owned. And one seldom mentioned fact by Western politicians and media pundits, the central bank of Libya is 100% state-owned. The world's globalist financiers and market manipulators do not like it. And it says here that they would like to continue their ongoing effort to dethrone Muammar Gaddafi, bring an end to Libya as an independent nation. That's right. They want to take their bank and they want to take their oil. It's the end of sovereignty. That's what it is. It's what it's all about. It has nothing to do with the humanitarian. It's about, you go in the CFR document that I posted on my last video, it even goes in and talks about how the CFR and all these politicians and all these globalists basically have an argument. It's either what? Humanitarianism or sovereignty. Or, I'm sorry, humanitarianism versus sovereignty. So yeah, it's either either or. So you got to pick one. And they don't like sovereignty. Middle class insolvency rising the fastest. $5 fees may be coming to an ATM near you. Montana Radio Shack gives away guns with new Dish Network subscription. And WTO rules U.S. aid to Boeing is illegal. This is GGN, and I'm Darko. Thank you.